Hello, Hateless Gaming here, bringing you another burner guide video. Today we have the Gurista agent, which is the worst one to get, but also a very fun fight. It's the worst one to get only because the payout's kind of lame. It's only 4 million and 10k LP, but it's still really worth doing because it's a short fight and it pays well per hour. For this burner, we will be using a Daredevil fit with 2 Neutron blasters, a small ancillary current router, small anti-kinetic pump, small auxiliary thrusters, core B type, 2 core B types or better on the kinetic hardeners, whatever's cheapest for you, a magnetic field stabilizer, a Coreli A type or equal, small repper because they don't get better than this, you have to go A type or equal. A Microwarpdrive Coreli A type is recommended. You can get away with damn near any Microwarpdrive, but you need this. You're going to have to overheat it to catch the burner. It's very important. A small Electrochemical cap booster, and then this is where it varies. Some people like to run a scram, some people like to run a web. The plus and minus of both. The scram is easier, it shuts down the thing's micro warp drive, so then you can easily keep up with it. But when you have max skills, a web works better because he keeps his micro warp drive on, and then you always do smashing hits because his radius is exploded. It's just a lot easier to hit him and track him. For guns, light neutron blaster 2s all the way with void ammo. This guy has a shit ton of health, so we have to make sure that we have DPS. DPS is very important here. We can just barely break his tank overheat, so we really need all the DPS that this ship can bring to the table. For skills in Spaceship Command, we have Glente and Mimitar Frigate to 5. I would recommend at least 4 here. Like I said, the DPS is very important. You really need that DPS, and the Glente Frigate 5 really gives you that DPS. In navigation, we have, where is it? It's high speed maneuver, no, where is it? There's one that makes you go faster. Acceleration control. Makes you go fast, 5% bonus, so a speed. You're going to need this to 4 or 5. I'm not sure if you can get away with it with 4. I haven't tried yet, but your 5 is really recommended here. Everything else is just kind of a helpful goodie. In engineering, this is, as you can see on the fitting, it's a fairly tight fit. We have 0.99 power grid and 3% CPU. You can run with a Generation Core implant set, but you're probably not going to want to do that because there's better implants you can put in. If you can't do that, you're going to want your engineering skills good so that you can fit the fit. Because this is an armor tank, we're going to need repair systems 5. There's no passive tanking modules, so it just hull upgrades and repair systems 5 will get you what you need. Hull upgrades give you an extra 5% health. We're not shield tanks, so we're not worried about shields. In gunnery, we're going to want the support skills to 4 for guns, and then small blaster spec 3 or 4. Because that will give us the T2 guns that we need. I don't know if this is doable with Meta 4 guns. I wouldn't really recommend it. It's probably going to be the last burner that my 0 to hero learns because you really need the DPS to get this guy. We're not using missiles, drones, electronic systems, scanning. In rigging, to make this fit work, you're going to want armor rigging, and you're going to want the other rigging skill for our fit. We're going to have Ancillary. Yeah, so you're really going to want armor rigging, astronetics rigging, and I think just regular jerry rigging helps your small ancillary. Nothing else here. That's it. That's it for skills. We got the fit. So let's go over this burner fight. So in the beginning, we're going to overheat our hardeners. One of the hardeners, only one needs to be overheat, and we're going to overheat our micro warp drive and our light neutron blaster before we even go into the room. We have a keep at range set for 1,500 because that's going to put us right around 2 kilometers, and that'll keep us at close to our optimal range. So when we go in,
warp drive active.
he's going to be outside of locking range. He's 40 kilometers away. So we're going to hit keep at range, hit F2, and start our micro warp drive. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to turn on our hardeners, turn off the overheat for the micro warp drive, and lock up the burner worm. And then we're going to turn off that, We're going to turn off our Microwarpdrive because we're going to close the gap here. We're going to start our Webifier. And then as soon as the Microwarpdrive turns off, we can go. Now what happened there is we took 2 missile shots. That's really bad. So now that always happens, but it's really bad if you don't turn on your hardeners. That will kill you right away. You'll just die. So that's why we overheat our hardeners, to mitigate as much damage as possible. Now that we're in range of him, we can turn off the hardener here, or we can turn off the overheat on the hardener, because we don't need overheat anymore. And then we can just start blasting him now that he's under 3 kilometers. We watch our cap and we take him apart. Now if you watch his armor here, or his shield, he is going to not be a happy camper here, but he's got a passive active tank, is what I call it, because it's a worm. So the worm's natural stats gives it a tanky bonus. So this thing's got a massive tank on it. So you got to sit here shooting it for a minute, and once it gets to about 30% shields, it's at its peak regen and it boosts. So until you break 30% shields, you don't know if you're gonna kill this guy or not. Well, for your first time fighting it, you'll know if you can kill him or not after you fought him a few times. Once you break past 30% shields, you know you've beaten him. You just gotta sustain overheat until he dies. As soon as his shields drop, his armor and hull are like nothing. He just kind of pop, and he dies. So it's really about just tackling him. You overheat your Microwarpdrive to close the gap, and then once you get close enough, you turn off the overheat. If you're not very comfortable, run overheat for both Microwarpdrive cycles, and you'll be able to close that gap even quicker. But what's important is that you turn off your Microwarpdrive so that you can continue to track him. You don't want to leave the Microwarpdrive on. And that's it for that fight. If you like these videos, make sure to comment, subscribe, and hit the thumbs up button. If you don't like them, tell me why. Everybody fly safe and have a good day.